in my soul platform using PLD or Personalized Learning Designer. But first, before we proceed with displaying the actual messages in your course, let's try to define first what is PLD, just to give us a context of what really is PLD and what is PLD inside our course, okay? So I will show some slides that maybe will help us contextualize what really is PLD. So let me just share my slide. Okay, so PLD or Personalized Learning Designer is a tool that lets you create events inside your course. So these events, it can be paired with a condition. Condition is optional, but then again, you always need to have an event to create a PLD. So what is an example of an event? So an event can be a student enters your course, or it can be a student submits an exam, or student submits a quiz. Those are examples of events that can be created and can be triggered using a PLD. Okay, so also PLD can be attached to different activities or resources inside your course or your course in My Soul platform. So it can be attached to a particular assignment. It can be attached to a particular quiz, for an instance. So like, for example, when a student submits a quiz or submits an assignment, there's like an alert message box that would appear. Like, for example, you have quiz number 1, right? And then when the student submits quiz number 1, upon submitting the quiz, there's like an alert message box that maybe that would say, welcome, or congratulations, you have submitted or you have passed the exam, or something like that. So those are examples of PLDs that can be attached to different activities and resources inside your course. So the PLD tool is designed exclusively to bring inclusivity so that the student would feel that they are included inside your course by personalizing the different alerts and messages and automations inside your course. So a PLD is a very broad tool. It's a broad feature that is integrated in our soul, but usually we don't introduce PLD during the training, because this is more like the advanced part of using our online or virtual classroom. Okay, so now that somehow we know a little background about PLD, when is the best time to use PLD? So it can be used. These are just examples of scenarios wherein you can use PLD. It can be used to create welcome messages when the course begins, create course or activity-based prompts for students, as what I've said earlier. Like for example, when a student submits a quiz or submits an assignment, there's like an alert message box that would appear upon submitting that particular activity. So it can also be used to create activity access restriction based on certain conditions. Like, for example, you have quiz 1 and quiz 2. So the student cannot access quiz number 2 if they cannot pass quiz number 1. So that a PLD can be used to automate that particular process. Automating, again, PLD can be used in terms of automating different kinds of tasks inside a course or your online course. So what are the benefits of using PLD? It enables the teacher to make the course content more engaging. More engaging in such a way that since it brings inclusivity into your course, the student will be more engaged in terms of the contents, of the resources, and the activities to your course, maybe because it's personalized in such a way that it caters the diverse needs of your students. So what I've said earlier, let me go back to my example. For example, you have quiz 1 and then quiz number 2, right? Now, the condition will be the student cannot access quiz number 2 if they cannot pass quiz number 1. So chances are, if a student fails quiz number 1, the teacher can supplement resources or activities to that particular student, so that when he retakes quiz number 1 or when he or she retakes quiz number 1, he can now pass and then proceed to quiz number 2. So it increases student involvement in the course. So what I've said, students become more involved into your course because of the personalizations in that particular course, okay? So a PLD is composed of different components. Particularly, there are 3 components in a PLD. So first is the event, second is the condition, and then we have the action. So these 3 components go hand in hand in terms of creating the PLD, right? So in a PLD, the event is a required component and also the action. So it's okay if you're not going to declare condition, but you need to have an event and you need to have an action for the PLD to work. So what is an event? It causes the rule to run. So like for example, the event, as what I've said, an event can be when a particular user enters your course. That can be an example of an event. Or when a particular user submits an assignment, when a particular users open an assignment, or when a particular user completed a quiz. So those are examples of events, right? And then we have the condition. So the condition causes the actions when the event occurs. Like for example, we'll go back to the student submits a quiz. So that's the event, right? Now the condition can be if the student passes this particular quiz, that can be a condition. Or for example, the event is when a student enters your course, that's the event. The condition is when the student has not accessed your course within certain number of days, then that can be a condition. So then the action. The action is basically the outcome of the event. So let's try to go back to our example. When a student enters your course, so that's an event. Now, the condition will be if this particular student has not accessed your course within, for example, within 7 days, then that could be a condition. Then the action will be you're going to display an alert message box, or you're going to send an email to the student stating about maybe asking a reason why he hasn't accessed your course within a particular number of days. So those are some of the examples in terms of the components of a PLD. So you need to have an event, you need to have a condition, but the condition is optional, and then you need to have an action for the PLD to work. Okay. All right. So now that we have a little background in terms of how PLD works in our virtual classroom, let's try to have some example of how really is PLD done inside our course. So let me just share my screen, the entire screen. I'm sorry. I will stop sharing and then I will share my entire screen. Okay. All right. So I will open. So this is let's just say this is the teacher side of the MySol platform, right? So what I have here is the teacher side. As you can see, this is the personal menu page wherein you can actually see all the courses that you are handling and you are enrolled as a student. So throughout this session, I will be using the simulation course, this one, for today's session, right? Okay, so as a teacher, to create a PLD, you just need to go inside your course, and then in the course page. So this is the course page. Once you enter the course, the landing page will be a course page. Okay, so for you to access the PLD, you just have to go to the settings of your course. If you click the gear icon here, so the admin settings, let me just move my video. Sorry. Okay. So there are a bunch of settings that you can see in the right side when you click the gear icon, right? So under course administration, just look for personalized learning designer. So here it is, just below the open reports experimental. So personalized learning designer, open it. And as you can see, I have 2 PLDs. Let me just delete this for now. since I will be creating a PLD from scratch. Okay. So the first scenario will be I'm going to create a PLD wherein when a particular user, regardless if he is a student, if he or she is a student, or a teacher maybe, or an admin or a manager of the course, regardless of the role of this particular user, when a user enters the course, there's like an alert message box that would welcome that particular user. Okay? So the first step, again, in the course page, you need to go to the settings and go to Personalized Learning Designer. So this is the Personalized Learning Designer window, right? So as you can see, you have two main tabs. You have the rules here on the left side, and just beside the rules, you have the history basically of all the PLDs that were created in this particular course. Now, to create a PLD, you simply click Add a Rule. And then the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to give it a name. So what's the name of your PLD? So like, for example, this is like a welcome message. So I will just type welcome message. So you can name your PLD in whatever name that you want to name it. Because again, the students cannot see the name of your PLD, only you as a teacher or the manager of the course. Okay. Now, as what I've said, the PLD is composed of three major components. You have the events, you have the conditions, and then you have the actions, right? So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to set the event. Remember that the scenario that we're going to simulate is that when a particular user enters your course, a message alert box will appear. A welcome message alert box will appear. So in the event, you just have to click the box in the event, and it's a drop-down menu where you can see a bunch of events that you can use. So you just have to look for the event that would fit in the particular end goal that you want to achieve. Let's just say, since the objective will be if the student enters a course, a message alert box will appear, then the event will be course entered, right? So meaning when a user enters your course. So course entered. And then once the event is selected, make sure to click the add button here in the right side to save the event. Okay. So as you can see, you now have an event and it says course entered. So what's next? So again, for this particular example, we will not be setting a condition. So just the event and the action, a pretty straightforward, very basic PLD sample, the event and the action. So let's skip condition for now. Now that we have the event, let's proceed with the action, okay? So the action, as you can see, this is a drop-down menu box where you can select a bunch of actions that will be initiated once the event is triggered. Okay, so the end goal is when a user enters the course, a message alert box will be displayed. So now that we have the event, the action will be display alert, meaning a message box will be displayed or an alert box will be displayed. So display alert and then click add. Okay, so this is the box wherein you can actually type the message. So what kind of message that would appear when a student enters your course. So like for example, I will just type hi. And the good thing about PLD is, again, it is all more on personalization. So if you notice on the right side, you have insert token button, right? Now, if you click this one, there are actually bunch of tokens that you can insert into your text editor. So like, for example, the first name of the user, it can be the last name, the emails, even the name of the course. You can insert those tokens into your editor. So let, for example, the first name, meaning the alert will be hi, and then the first name of the student or the user who enters your course. And I can also add a last name. So hi, the first name, and then the last name of the student. And then I will put a comma. And let me just welcome to, and then I will insert the name of the course. So if you notice those words, those tokens, let's just say those are variables. So it depends upon whoever enters or accesses your course. Okay, so now once you have the token, you can just click save, and you now have an action, which is a display alert. So to sum it up, you simply click save and the PLD is now saved. Okay. So in the PLD window, you can see that I have one PLD here. It says welcome message. And the event is when a user enters the course. This is the event. The condition, it's always running because we did not set a condition for this particular PLD. Now, the action will be, it will display an alert whenever that particular user or whenever a user enters your course. So how does it look like in terms of from the student perspective? Okay, so I will open a new tab and I will access the course as a student. So let me just log in. Okay, so this is the simulation course. Now take note, when I enter the course, okay, take note of the alert box. It says hi, and then my first name and my last name, and then welcome, and then the name of the course, the simulation course. So as a teacher, you can personalize the message, and the message displayed is also personalized in the perspective of the student. So for example, this is student A, the message will be hi student A. If this is student B, the message will be hi student B. Again, the message is personalized depending on who accesses or who enters your course. So this is an example of an alert message, a welcome message that can be done via PLD. So to close this one, to proceed, you simply click, or the student just simply clicks or click the close button, and he can now access, or he or she can now access the course. So that's one way of creating a very, very basic PLD. So let's try to set a condition. So I will just go back to my courses. So again, this is the page of the student, right? So I will access another course to end the PLD. Let me just go back here. All right. And then let me go back to the previous screen of the teacher. So now I'm going to edit the PLD and I'm going to include a condition. So the condition will be when a particular user enters the course, the system will check if this user is a student, is a teacher, a manager, or the condition must be only student enrolled in this particular user, I mean, in this particular course can actually see the display alert. So I will edit the PLD. To edit the PLD, there's a gear icon just on the left side of the PLD name. Click the gear icon and then you have edit rule, right? So from here, just go to condition because we will just be adding a condition. Now, drop down menu and then choose user role check, meaning it will check what's the role of this particular user who enters the course. Now, remember that we will just be displaying the alert box to all students. So it will not be displayed if the teacher enters the course, or if the web admin enters the course, or the manager of the course. The PLD will not work. It will only work for students, right? So user role check and then add. Now the triggering user, it should be a student. So I will change the manager to student and then click save. So I will save it. So as you can see, in our PLD window, the event is course entered here. And then the condition is the user who enters the course, is he a student? Is he or she a student or not? That's the condition. And then the action is to display the same alert, right? So let me check. So this is again the window of the student. So I will access the course. And the PLD will appear because, again, this particular user is enrolled as a student of that course, right? So let me just show you a flow chart. It's a very simple flow chart of how the PLD works, especially in this kind of scenario. So let me go back here. So this is like the flow chart of our first scenario. Now that you have the course participant, let's all start with the course participant here. And then when that particular participant enters the course, now the course is being represented by a green box here. As you can see, when a particular user enters the course, the PLD will check if is this user a student or not, right? So upon entering the course, the PLD automatically checks the role of the user. Is this a student or not? Now, if no, the PLD will do nothing and the user can proceed. If yes, then the PLD will display an alert box. So that's how easy it is in terms of how the system works for displaying the alert box. As you can see, this part is the event, this is the condition, and this part is the action. So I hope you get a clear picture of how it works in terms of setting the event, the condition, and what's the action of your PLD. Okay? So next, I will show a PLD. Let me just disable the PLD first. So as a teacher, when you click the gear icon just on the left side of the PLD, you have four options. You can edit the rule if you want, you can copy, you can disable or delete. So I will disable this particular PLD because I'm going to create a new one that maybe would conflict if I will not disable the first one. So can you create an event or a PLD with the multiple conditions, with multiple actions? Yes, you can. So our next example, I will show you how to create a PLD with the multiple conditions and then with multiple actions, right? So I will go back to the course page. Okay, and then in this particular example, I need to create a group. So I hope you're familiar with how groups are created inside our virtual classroom. So I will just go to settings and then let me just move this one. Okay, I will go to users and then groups, right? So yeah, let me just delete the previous group that I created. Okay, yes. All right, so to create a group, of course, you just have to click the create group button from this page and then just give it a name. Let's just say the group's name is student, okay? So that's the group name. You can customize the name of the group if you want, but for now, let me just use that particular name. So I have now a group, student, with no user. As you can see, it says 0, meaning 0 member to this particular group. Let me just go back to the course page. Okay, so I will now create the PLD again with the multiple conditions and then with multiple actions, right? So I will go to the settings of the course and then go to personalized learning designer. All right, so I have here the previous PLD that I created earlier, and as you can see on the right side of that, it says disabled because I disabled this particular PLD. So I will create a new one. To create a PLD, you always have to start with add a rule button here on the left side. And then what's the name of the PLD? Let's just say this is welcome message number 2. All right, so that's the name. You always need to have a name. As you can see, it's with asterisk, meaning it's a required field of the PLD. So the event, it's the same event. When a user enters the course, this one, and then don't forget to click the add button here on the right side to add the event. Okay, once done, conditions. So as what I've said, we will set this PLD with multiple conditions. Now the first condition is just the same as the PLD that we had earlier. So group membership ship check. Is this a student? Is this a teacher? Is this a manager? So the triggering user is a student, right? So sorry for that. It's the user role check. Add, and then is a student. The triggering user is a student. That's the first condition, meaning if a particular user enters the course, the system will check if this user is a student. So the second condition is group membership check. It will check the membership of this particular user to a particular group. Now, is the triggering user is not a member of, let's just say, the student group that I created. So meaning it will check if this particular user who enters the course, if he or she is not a member of the group student, right? So take note that we now have two conditions in our PLD. Now let's proceed to the action. The first action will display an alert message box. So I actually have a sample. Let me just check here. Sorry if I still have that. Here, let me just copy this one. Okay. So hi, and then the name of, I will insert the token, which is the token I will be using is just the first name of the student. Hi, and then the name of the student. And then the message will be, I'm so glad that you've been able to find your way into my soul and into your class. I mean, way into my soul, yeah. If you are not familiar with my soul, that's okay. We will work together as the semester goes on. For this week, please continue working through the top area of the class and through topic number 1. So yeah, this will be the first sem that I have used my soul. So if anything doesn't seem to work correctly, please let me know immediately so I can make any necessary changes. Now on to a great semester. Okay, so that's like a sample, a welcome message to your course. So I will save it. So that's the first action. Now the second one will be once the display alert is closed or done, this particular user will be added to the group student. So let me just add user to group. That will be the next action, then add. Then you're just going to select the group, so student. So save. Remember that the condition will be the PLD will check if this particular user is not a member of this the group student. So if not, then the condition will be true and it will proceed with the action. So the action, it will display the message alert box and then it will add that particular user to the group student. Okay, so why is that? Why are we doing this PLD? Because in the previous PLD, every time the user accesses the course, the message alert box will appear. It would become annoying in the long run, right? So in this case, in the second PLD, it will only be displayed once. So the user can only see the message alert box once, and that's it. It will not appear. It will not appear in the course page of the student anymore. So just click save. So let's try to review the PLD. So the event is course entered, this one, and then the condition is this user a student? So that's the user role check. And then is this user not a member of the group student? Those are our conditions. Now the actions will be it will display an alert message box, and then it will add that particular user to the group students. Take note that for PLD, the conditions should always fall under the true, it should always be yes for the PLD to work. For example, the first condition is the system will check if this particular user is a student. Then if it's not, then it will not, it will terminate the PLD. It will not proceed to the next condition. So let's just say, for example, yes, it would fall under yes in the first condition. This particular user is a student. It will check, is this user not a member of the group student? Then if it's a no, because the member is now, if this particular user is now a member of the group student, then the PLD will terminate. And if it's a yes, then it will display or it will initiate all the actions set in your PLD. So I will, yeah, this is saved now. And I will go back here as a student. Let me just move this one. So my courses. To end the PLD, to reset the PLD as a student, you can just access any other course and then go back to that course. So I will access the simulation course. As you can see, I have the message. So this is like, for example, this is the first time the user access or enters your course. So hi Jade, and then I have now that particular message alert box, right? So again, this is the first time the student accesses your course or enters your course. Now I will close this and I will go back to the personal menu page, and then I will access another course to reset the PLD. And then I will go back to my courses and let's try if I can still see the PLD. So there's no more PLD. So the PLD will only appear once and that's it. So that's the main reason why we included a group membership check, so that the PLD, the message alert box, the welcome message alert will only be displayed once in the part of the student. So how does it work? So let me show you the flow chart of the second PLD, okay? So let me just move this one, sorry. All right, so let's start with the course participant. The course participant, again, it can be the student, it can be the teacher, it can be the admin. And then this particular participant enters the course. The course is being represented by the green box. Then the PLD will check, is this participant a student or not? Now, if no, the PLD will terminate. If yes, there's this second condition. If is this student not member of the group student? Now, if no, the PLD will terminate, right? Now, if this particular student is not a member of the group student, and if it's a yes, then it will display the message alert box, and then it will add that particular user to the group student. So the next time this particular user enters your course, and the PLD will then filter this, if this is a student or not. Of course, this is a student, so it will say yes. And then, is this particular student member of the group student? This time, this particular user is now member because of the first PLD. So it will just do nothing and will terminate. So it will not display the message alert box because this particular user is now member of the group student, right? So yeah, just a short recap. Whenever a user enters the course, the PLD basically checks, is this a student or not? If it's not a student, it will just terminate. If it is a student, it will recheck the second condition. Is this particular user not member of the group student? If it's a no, then it will terminate. Now, if this student is not a member of the group student, then it will display a message alert box and it will add that particular student to the group student. So that's just a simple way of illustrating how the PLD works in terms of having multiple condition and multiple action in your PLD. So yeah, that's yeah, I guess that's my last example in terms of displaying a message alert box in your, or a welcome message into your course. So you can always visit our website for the recordings. And I guess this time, I guess we are open for questions. If you have questions, you can turn on your mics or you can turn on your videos if you want. Okay, I guess there's, all right, let me just check one moment. All right, so okay, so if there's no question, thank you so much for attending today's webinar. And tomorrow, there's another webinar about using H5P. It's the same time, it's 3 to 4. And please visit soul.su.weebly.com. We will be posting the recordings of all the webinars in that particular site. So thank you so much and have a great day.